It's time to become the best version of yourself and help others do the same. It's Monday morning and we're talking success.
Good Monday morning, everyone. It's great to see you here. My name's Greg Halliday, and I'm talking with you from the Soul offices, as always. What a great way to start a week, at least for us. To be able to sit here and see you. Now, we don't get to see you, but we see your names. And when we see your names, we see your faces. So I'm looking at the chat board, and I can see a lot of people have already signed in. Keep doing that, everybody. Denise Smith, how you doing from Virginia? And Minnie Cortez. Terry, how you doing from Livermore? And Yaline Betanzos. Happy Monday morning to you too, Yaline. I can see Eric there and Lydia. And Lillian Osvaldo, Lisa Manchester. Hello, Lisa. I wish I could see all your names. Oh, there's Valerie. Charlotte, good morning, Charlotte. It's great to see you. And this morning, we've got a wonderful guest who's having all kinds of success lately. And I've known her for quite some time. Her name is Anita Carpenter. And I'll tell you a little bit more about Anita in just a second. But before that, I've got a question for you. So if you're somewhere where you can chat in the answer, please do, okay? Curious, that how would you define a sage? So S-A-G-E. You know, sometimes we refer to a person as a sage. Oh, she's a sage. He's a sage. What is a sage to you? Now, I'm from Utah. And so the first thing you see when you drive, we moved my family, my father's family, many years ago from Southern California to Utah. And the first thing you see when you come into Utah is a bunch of sage. I'm not talking about that kind of sage, not the plant, the person. What is a sage? Okay. Because I like this, and this morning, before we meet with our special guest, we are going to do some recognition that we call the health sage. So let's see, a sage. We got some here. Kristen says wisdom. Ooh, yeah. Great one-word answer, Kristen. Wisdom. All right. Let's see. Chris Hedrick says, I love sage. Never have referred to folks as sage. Yeah, Chris is thinking of sage the plant too, because it is therapeutic. Lydia says, someone that you can count on for guidance during your journey, a sage. Okay. Rebecca Brown says, a very wise person. Like that. Valerie says, someone who shares their wisdom collected over a lifetime. So like a lot of you are like, sage, it doesn't just happen. It's over time. You become sage. I'm getting a little bit of that. A wise person. Oh, Rosa Nunez says, a calm person. Well, I think so, Rosa. I think that's one thing that comes with wisdom and sage is you don't tend to get quite as ruffled about stuff. I'm still looking for that. I could still get ruffled. Yaline says knowledgeable. Okay, I like that. Oh, Karma Fielding. Karma says about sage, that would be Corinne Lott. Okay, I like that. Corinne, if you're on, I haven't seen your name in, and usually Corinne's on. Corinne, you're a sage. Because Karma says so, and I would agree with her. Kristen Brunia says Anita's a natural sage. Okay, yeah, Anita. Okay. Michelle Randall says, someone I aspire to be now that I just learned this name. Okay, awesome, Michelle. So, because we teach each other, right? We're supposed to learn something every time that we get together. And so I'm glad that you did, because I did in just preparing for this. I looked at, okay, someone else said, Cass in class says, sage is a Yoda. Okay, I like that too. All right, good ones, you guys. I think you hit the nail right on the head. So let's look at our success key this morning and do our recognition. It's called Health Sage. And I'll just share with you my own take on sage. It's pretty much what a lot of you have said here. Someone else just Terry just said it's a profoundly wise person. In the area of natural health, to me, there are two kinds of sages. One is someone who's done all sorts of book learning and also let's say book learning is the majority of what they've done, and they just know so much. And you can talk about a number of different herbs, and they can tell you some of the benefits of almost any herb they come across. So that's one kind of sage. Another kind of sage, and I love being around people like that, by the way, because I learn so much. Another kind of sage that I've run across in this business for now 35 years, just about 35 years I'm coming up on, is someone who maybe they're not so encyclopedic in quoting therapeutic properties of plants, but they have helped people for a lot of years, and they know where they can go to get information, because what they do is they don't have any question in their mind how they're going to help you, because they know where they're going to turn to find information, or where they're going to get something to share with you so that you can learn more about your own health and take charge of your own health. And, in other words, become like them. I actually love both sages. So one sage that I would describe as someone that's just been doing it for a little while. Now, that's not necessarily a long while, not necessarily 10 or 20 or 30 years. I saw sages in a very short period of time, if they were really active, they were really immersed in the natural health community. That can happen quite fast. Some people can kind of get sage status to me really kind of quickly. Like you'll talk with them and you'll see all this experience, and they know right where to connect you. And then you find out they've been doing it for a year and a half. That's not necessarily the norm, but it does happen. But certainly after several years, when someone's really involved, a lot of people look at them as a sage. And so there's different kinds of sages. At Soul, our Success Key Health Sage, we've boiled it down to one thing, and that is that you've helped directly someone activate the most important habit that they can learn in all their connection with soul, and that is to stay constant on their nutrition, or to activate a subscription. A subscription does that in a lot of different ways. Number one, we have so much flexibility in our subscription that it can be changed according to your health needs. So it doesn't mean you're using the same products every month, but it does mean that you're always supplementing your nutrition. Because I can promise you this from all my years of listening and learning from a lot of sages, we need to supplement our nutrition to meet our nutritional needs, both for all sorts of physical and any physical condition that we want to have in our health, and for emotional wellness. It won't be enough even if we're really good eaters. So to me, Health Sage at Soul is boiled down to one thing: helping people get constant on their nutrition. Now, the rest of Sage, I think I've described a couple of ways we can be a sage. We can read and learn a lot, and we can become really, really good at connecting people. I've seen both of these be very helpful as long as the focus is sharing with others. So Health Sage is a big one to me. I really love this Success Key. I like them all. So we're going to recognize today people who have at least twice in the month of April, this month, they've connected someone to subscription, and that person's activated their subscription for the first time in their soul life. So these people have done that at least twice this month. So at least two people have activated their subscription, and we're going to give them a big shout out, okay? Because it's the most important habit anybody could get. I think I mentioned, because the nutritional, the most important reason, but the second one is you get the most value because they get the lowest cost. So not only am I helping someone with that habit, but also I'm helping them spend at the greatest value for the Soul products because they get all the savings of subscription. All right, let's do it now. Let's go and do some recognition. Let's shout out. And look at that, at the top of our list is Anita Carpenter. We're going to come back to Anita in just 1 second. Shout out to Anita. She's a Health Sage this month. Pedro Rivera Soto, Health Sage in April. Well done, Pedro. Alvaro and Nubia Medina. I call them Medina Gente Fina. In Spanish, that means really fine people, and they are. I've known them for 20 plus years. Health sages. Janet Vergara. Janet is a health sage. And I will tell you, she's an MD, but when she teaches like you or I. She has her background, but she teaches in a way that I can understand, and she keeps it simple, and she puts people on a program of nutrition. Johnny Guerrero, you're a health sage. Congrats, Johnny. Valerie Bledsoe, another sage. I think Valerie kind of fits in both of those sage categories I've seen over time. Lots of practical experience, and she reads a lot. Valerie can help you if you connect to Valerie. Maria Carmen Sarco, congratulations, Maria. You're a health sage. Beatriz Morales, well done, Beatriz. In April, Maria Ramirez. If we did this health sage spotlight every month, I think we'd see Maria on it every month. She's super consistent at connecting people to healthy habits of nutrition. Genoveva Valencia. Oh, Heno, I call her in Spanish. My nickname for her is just called Smile. She has a great smile, and she knows how to help people. Dalia Denise Garcia. I think Dalia, somewhat newer in her soul journey and doing wonderfully well in that important habit of subscriptions for her people. Well done, Dalia, and I'm not sure that Dominguez might be her last name. Amanda Rivera. I know Amanda, we had her on a couple of weeks ago. No surprise to see her as a health sage this month. 2 new people, and actually more than that activated their subscription. Lydia Ferrantino, another one. Lydia, I can tell you, she is also a sage in every sense of the word. Lots and lots of practical experience. Lydia will be there. She'll walk with you in your journey, and she also educates herself as well. Well done, Lydia. I think we've got a few more. Dalila Aviles. I think Dalila's newer in her journey as a sage. She's an example of what I was saying earlier. Health sage status doesn't necessarily need years to arrive at. It's more about what we do and how we work with people. Marisol Montesano, I know Marisol, and I've known her for many years, and absolutely Marisol. She's quiet. You don't hear from her as much, but trust me, what she's doing is very loud. She helps scores and scores of people, and they stay on their nutrition. Dora Corral, well done, Dora. Welcome to the Health Sage. Ashley James, another sage who's got years and years doing this. Not surprised that Ashley's on the list. Anavet and Jesus Conde. Conde organized a meeting last Saturday night. I was here at the Soul offices on his meeting, and there were 100 and some odd people. And that whole meeting was built around empowering people so that you can take charge of your life. So no surprise there that Anavet and Jesus were on. My Elena Vasquez is a health sage. Congrats, my Elena. Reina Nordis Roach. Congratulations, Reina. Guillermina Moy, I see that name multiple times with Success Keys. She's working the keys to help people have a better life. And Susan Friesen. Sue, well done. Sue is another person and Sue, I'm sure Anita will probably give Sue a shout out. Someone that I would say, Anita would say, is a rising star in her organization. And you're doing things right, Sue. Congrats on your Health Sage Success Key. Angela Bricheski, another one of my favorite people. Angela just cares about people. So if you connect with Angela, she's just going to help you. She'll do whatever it takes to help you. And I just love her personality, the way she approaches people. I think she just treats everybody the same. I feel like I'm treated the way she treats somebody else, and you want to listen to her. So congrats, Angela. Thanks for being a health sage. Arilianis Gonzalez, you are a health sage. Congratulations. Two Feather Smith. Aside from the fact that I love your name, shout out to Two Feathers, who's part of Eric's team. Another one that I think you'll probably hear more from in the future. Two Feathers is someone who will look at stuff very carefully, and she's going to make sure she helps you. All right, everybody, that is the Health Sage Success Key. You can tell there's a lot of good things going in that, to me, most important habit, which is find a positive and an inviting way to get people to stay on nutrition. Isn't that really what we're trying to do at Soul? If people will stay on nutrition, and when I say nutrition, it's supplemental nutrition. It will not be enough. We could have a whole class on why it's not enough to just eat well. You won't get the variety of nutrients. They aren't there in the quantities needed for today's lifestyle. So anyway, having said all that, let's jump now to our guest. And we had Anita on a while ago, and Anita had some plans. Now we've got her back after having her worked on some big plans. And so let's welcome Anita, and we're going to talk a little bit about your plans. But Anita, first, glad to have you here this morning. How are you feeling this Monday morning?
Thank you, Greg. Busy, but good.
Yes, you are. Okay, busy. All right, now, can I embarrass you a teeny bit before we talk?
I guess.
Okay, I apologize, but I think everyone should know this. Okay, I'm not going to talk money because money, that's private. That's Anita's. Okay, but I want to let you know something. So Anita hovered around for a little while. She was around, the volume in her organization was around 22,000. And then she had this plan, and she planned it well in advance. Part of that plan involved her upline, her mentor, Valerie, and several of her key leaders. I think we mentioned Sue and some others. And so she had a very specific plan for, and I believe it was the month of March, right, Anita? Yeah. And then through that plan, her business surged almost 50% higher. So she went up over 30,000. And a lot of times when people have a big plan like that, you see that nice surge, and then usually you'll see the next month it kind of like it's not quite as high. That's the very typical way any business often grows. I'm not going to say always, but often it's that way. That has not been Anita's case. In April, she's even higher. The month isn't over. And I just looked at it this morning, Anita. You're already another 10% higher than you were last month. You're 33-ish, right around there, almost 33. And I'm looking at a couple of key indicators. So Soul Prime. One of the things we're going to talk about is Anita reached the highest power prime. We're going to come back to that last month, which is in March. That's the month, that's the level where you have 24 new enrollments, and their combined orders during the month are over 5,000 just from new enrollments. That was designed to be a special event type promo. We realize people don't do that every month, but you plan something, everyone can do this. And I'm hoping part of my goal this morning is, as we talk with Anita, others can see this is something that can be done, because Anita just showed us, So Anita did that. But this month I'm looking at Anita, and you're not. Now, I know there's just a couple days left of the month, Anita, after today, but you're like almost to a power prime again. Not the highest, but the second highest. And I'm like, this is coming off the other one, which tells you lots of good things are happening. And then finally, the last thing I'm going to say, and then we're going to hear from Anita, is her mentor bonus. Now, remember, the mentor bonus is that extra bonus, additional, based upon reorders of everyone you've personally mentored. It doesn't matter where you've positioned them in your organization. They don't have to be direct to you, but you were the one who mentored them. Now, Anita has always had a very good mentor bonus, which means people are reordering well. And I think it was appropriate that we recognize the SAGE Success Key, because Anita, I don't know if you view yourself as a SAGE. I'm guessing you're going to shake your head, but the thing is, you are. Because you really, really are. Because a sage is bringing something to someone that makes a huge difference. It changes their life. To me, that's a definition. And you're really good at that. So her mentor bonus, and I apologize, it's the only thing I'm going to bring up this morning of dollars. I hope Anita's okay with me. I'm not going to tell you her overall. But, her mentor bonus is now over $800 for this month. It's 800 some odd. She's getting to the level, she's at the 7%. The mentor bonus is between 3 and 10% of all the reorders, which is really a fantastic and really generous bonus, because it's in addition to the whole SMART plan. It's another thing layered on top of everyone you mentored. And hers is, you're getting real close to like another $1,000 a month, in that. And I love that. I love everything about that because I know what it means to the people that you're helping with your health sage qualities and to you, Anita. So, okay, I'm done embarrassing. Before I ask you questions, before I ask you some questions, is there anything you want to comment just out of the gate? And then we'll go back and talk about your big event in March and go from there. Anything, Anita, so far you'd like to comment?
Well, I just want to say that Soul makes it possible for us to do this. That's, in a nutshell, you guys have set it up and we just have to make the plan and do it. So often we don't do it, but if you do, and I've
Well,
stayed at a level for a lot of years,
yeah,
thinking,
you were
oh
very
boy, that's going to
consistent.
be hard. A long time. And I want to say a long time.
Yes.
So, yeah, this is,
Yeah,
Soul
you
has
could.
made it very possible for us to go up the ladder.
Yeah, you can be somewhere a long time. And I think so often it is so easy to fall into that trap of, I don't have it. I'm not good enough. Or whatever. We either blame ourselves or we blame soul or we blame something outside. It's really easy to fall into that trap. And all the building and all the insight and the perspective and everything else that is maybe invisibly, aligning in our lives for this moment. I think that Anita's now, it's this new chapter. It's really not a moment. It's a new chapter of success. That doesn't happen because maybe we bail out or we get discouraged or something. It's so easy to happen. I don't say that in any way critical. I think all of us can go through that and feel it. And it's something that's real. And I don't know why you didn't, Anita. Tell me what kept you from, because you had a number of years at a certain level. What
It
was
was.
it? What or were
I
there
think
various things?
some of it is I was afraid to share it with people. I felt like I didn't know enough to share it with people. And Greg kept telling me, you know it, you can do this, Anita. And once you get to a certain place, it's going to start rolling. And, he kept telling me that. And I think it was just when I got it in my mind, I can do, I, with the help of so many others, and which was it was a group effort. It wasn't just me. It was many people working together. And I thank them for their help. It was just a mindset change.
Okay, and Anita, I love that. And my question, I think, is also, what kept you from backing off and just deciding, I've given this a good go for a while. That's not me. I'm not going to be where you are now. What kept you from like taking steps back and not, or can you put
Well,
a finger on it?
I can put a finger on it. My husband passed away 23 years ago. And so, it just, in a short little nutshell, when he passed away, he was sick, he had cancer. So that in itself was one reason why I wanted to learn more about nutrition. But the real thing was I had to work. I was a stay-at-home mom for all those years that we were married, 26 years. And now I'm the one that needs to earn a living. He did not have a retirement for me. We didn't have savings. And now I have to work. And I still had three children at home to raise. Two were married and gone, and three children. And so through a course of events, Lois Trippett introduced me to Soul. And I had known a previous herb company that I had worked some with, but I wasn't into it, wholeheartedly. So when Lois came to me, I knew this was the way for me to make a living financially or to help supplement. And I did go to work and in an office job, but there were several jobs. It seemed like one thing after another kept happening. And like I worked at a CPA office and that closed. I worked for a credit union and it's a great place to work, but it just wasn't enough to make bills meet. And then I drove so far to another job that gave me great experience, but didn't, quite make it. And then the Lord led me to a chiropractor's office. And then before I worked there, I had started with Soul Naturals. And then when I worked at the chiropractor's office, it just showed me that there are so many people that need help. And that was an avenue that I could bring the soul in. So that's kind of where it started for me. But the main reason is I needed to earn a living. So still to this day, if I want to improve any more in what happens in my life, I'm now retired from the chiropractor because soul has started moving along. And it's, it's supplying the needs that I have. And it's wonderful, over and abundant. And I can share with other people, not just soul, but I can share with them financially now. I can share because I have more time with the people that I want to build and help them build. So that, in a nutshell, Greg, is what happened. I needed money.
So Anita, how does it feel?
More. I wanted more to help people and to do some extra things that I wanted to do, to travel to the conventions and go see things. I'm 65, almost 66. I want to experience more of life. I don't have children at home. I'm free to do it. And I saw this as an avenue for travel, to be with people and to help them accomplish, and for me to have more financially to just help people.
How does it feel, Anita? How does it feel to know or to see these last couple of months that you can build a plan and you can affect where that financial level is? How does that, have you thought about that the last month or two?
I have. I think about it often, and it just inspires me more and more. And I want to see other people be able to reach that too. I've never experienced that.
Yeah.
Wow, because when you work at an hourly paid job,
Yeah.
you get
That's
paid
the
for
pay.
the hours you're there.
Yeah.
But now I spend time with grandchildren. I spend time with my children. I spend time with other people, and it's just amazing. So, there.
Okay, that's awesome, Anita. All right, so let's talk about your plans. So March, you had this plan. You'd planned months in advance. You were going to have Valerie come up with you. And what in a nutshell, how would you describe what your plan was for that month of March to somebody else?
The plan was to touch as many lives with the message of soul, but not just soul. We didn't just talk soul, we talked health. We help people realize that you can't get everything you need just out of food, and we can't just take it one time and expect to be better. I guess that's kind of where I'm coming from. And I right up front, I let people know, I want you to stay on this at least 3 months with the program that we set up. We might tweak it a little bit. And then after the 3 months, let's see where you're at, and we'll go from there. So I don't start in with, if you take this, it's going to make that go away or that better. We need an all over nutrition. And Valerie helped us teach that. And I say us, it was Annette Rogo and Susan Friesen also. They helped with this, coordinating this plan too.
Okay, so you had the three of you that are up there in Michigan, Annette and Sue and you, and then Valerie came up as well, and then that was your message. It's not about fixing a symptom.
And I have to say, Dr. Kathy Padden also.
Oh, okay. And Dr. Kathy,
Dr. Kathy, because she's real big in helping. Though she still works as a chiropractor, she's very instrumental in teaching people in our area, and she's also a specialist.
Yeah, she's been out to Soul Ignite. Love Dr. Kathy. Okay, so you've got this. So you had like 5 people. Like there's 5 of principal who were like, this is okay. We're going to do this thing. So that was your message, is like, we're not fixing symptoms. We're going to change health. So to change health, this is how you got to look at it. Okay, that's your message. So roughly how many meetings? So Valerie came up to Michigan. How many meetings did you guys do in what period of time?
We did 2 women's meetings, on one each day on Tuesday and Wednesday, and we had about 160 to 200 women attend those. So we had those in 2 different locations. And then we had one meeting with Annette and Susan. They did that, did a joint meeting up in their area. And then we had 2 a Friday night and a Saturday in Lakeview with Dr. Kathy and her people.
So that's 5. Like 5-ish meetings, in a week. So you planned this. I mean, you started planning this months before it. So you had this targeted, organized. What great results! Lots of women came out. I love that you did a women's meeting. I love that idea. I feel like that's something that could be applied. I mean, all the situations are a little unique, and you also work with Amish. That's going to make it unique. But I think the principles apply everywhere. I love this idea. The moment you told me about it, I thought, what a great idea. I know they weren't all women's meetings, but you had a couple of them that were. Okay. And then,
Can I share one more thing in the planning? So
yeah.
then when we had the two large women's meetings, the ladies would come to me and say, I need to go talk to my husband, which I understand. Yes, you do before you make a purchase, like that. But then it got me thinking, it's like, well, so now we need to have a meeting where we involve the men, because we talk to the women on specific women's needs that often you don't talk about some of those things when you have men and women, a whole group. So the women have been, trained a little bit, taught. And so now we're going to bring the men in June. Now we're bringing the men into those two women's meetings, invite all of those people and get the men in there so they can understand and learn why soul works.
Yeah, okay, so that's March, then April, May, June. I know about that because Anita had talked to me around the time that she was actually carrying out this plan, saying, hey, we'd like to do a follow-up in June, and that's something where I'm going to be fortunate enough to come up there and be part of some of those men meetings, and I'm looking forward to that too, because I agree it makes a big difference when both husband and wife, if it's a couple, that they're both fully aware.
Right.
So, okay, Anita, so you had then in March this wonderful plan, a great team, and you ended up getting that top Power Prime, which, remember everybody, that's 24 enrollments in the month. That's just Anita. So that's not counting anybody else that the team enrolled under them. We're just talking today about Anita's enrollments. So you have to remember that. There's more activity besides just what we're talking about because of this plan. Multiple people see change and see benefit. And I think we're seeing that for sure. Annette and Sue and Dr. Kathy. But we're just talking about Anita today. So Anita, you got really close, and I think we were like 2 days before the end, 3 days, a weekend before the end of the March, and you could see how close you were. Now, I don't know. First, I want to ask you, was it your goal to do the top Power Prime level? Was that your goal with this plan, or was that just something once you got into it, you're like, wow, I'm super close to that?
Yeah, it was once I got into it, that was, what I wanted to.
Oh, yeah, I can do this. Okay, but then you
Right.
told me a story. You were so close. You were one person away or two from the 24.
One person away.
One
Yeah.
person away, and you're coming into the final weekend of the month. Tell us what happened.
Well, on Friday, I had a meeting with one of my neighbors, and I needed one more person to sign up and a little over $200 in orders to reach the 5,000. So we had a meeting, we talked, and in my mind, I'm thinking, if she doesn't order this amount, she's my neighbor, I can go ahead and add to her order and she can just run it over to me. But in that little voice inside said, but she wouldn't have earned this the right way. And so I did not do that. I signed up number 24, but I was still missing, like $100 to $75 to $100, in volume. And so I just prayed about it. I said, Lord, I have my people. I have the number of people, and I just need this much more. I'm just going to put it in your hands. And a very unusual thing happened. That was on a Friday. Saturday, and so the last day of the month would have been Monday, the 31st of March. So on Saturday night, about 8:00, this is like a miracle. I had an Amish woman call and say, I need to talk to you. I want to get product as soon as possible. And Amish do not call and do things like that on Saturday night. She apologized over and over for calling me late. And it just thrilled my heart. It was like, I know God cares about me. He does. So we made plans to talk Monday morning, got her signed up. Her order was well over the mark that I needed to hit the 5K. So it took me the 5,000 in volume. So it took me 25 people to get there, but we made it.
I just love that story because it can be tempting with goals to have the goal become more important than what we're doing. And I just love the way you did it. You didn't, so we can say, okay, look, the goal is not more important than helping others. And no one should ever feel like they're part of a goal. But I think there's a side to that where we can stay true to that and then just throw our goals out the window and just go, well, the goals aren't important. What you did there, the way you told me about that, you did both good things. You didn't treat it like the goal was the most important thing, but you also didn't give up on it. And I love that story because I was so happy to see you get it. Yeah, go ahead, Anita. Were you going to add something to that?
I was just going to say that. And the other thing too, the thought could have been to pressure my last person into purchasing more just to see, but that's not what she wanted. And so just to be able to step back and already have in my mind, no, my heart is telling me, no, don't, don't push, don't add to it. You just do. And I was going to be very happy if I didn't make that top. I was going to be okay with it, because I was satisfied within myself and knew I was doing what I needed to do.
I love that. I really love that on so many levels. People need to know it's them that we care most about, and that's our full focus. So what a great, Anita, I just love that story. That's why I wanted you to share it. Because I think there's a great example in that we can all apply when that situation comes, to us. Because I think those situations do come if you're really active and trying to build. You're going to find yourself in that situation. Okay, so all right, so we talked about that. Now tell me. Okay, we're a month after, so you had this big plan, and before I moved to now April, and Anita's, her follow-up month, I just want to say one more time, when we organize Soul Prime with what we call the Power Prime levels, we always were thinking this would be a special event opportunity. Maybe it's a promotion. It could be that the company's going to do something in backing it. Like, for instance, in May, we have Mental Health Awareness Month, which is a special month for Soul. And so we're going to have some extra things in May. I'll just give you a heads up. And so the timing may be right for you to say, hey, I'm going to leverage what the company's doing and do a special event like Anita did. What would that look like? Who would I invite? Anita had a team of people. She involved Upline, you involved Upline, and you involved team, part of your own team. And what's our message going to be? And planning some sort of concrete events on specific dates so it can't slip to the future. You've got this plan. That's why we did Power Prime. And so I love that we can feature Anita because, Anita, what a shining example of why we want that to be part of the plan. But here we are, you did this great thing. And honestly, I talked to Valerie after, and Valerie was like exhausted. She's like, Anita had every minute planned. I am so beat after that week of travel, And that takes some doing because Valerie has a lot of energy. And I know, Anita, you were like, whoa, because again, I know you. You work really, you're used to working hard, but that was a lot. So how is it that now the next month, here you are knocking on the door of Power Prime again, and your business has gone to even further heights? First of all, how do you feel? Like, energy-wise, how's it feeling in the second month? And then any other thoughts about what's happening this month in the aftermath?
Oh, it's feeling great. There used to be days I would sit in my office and think, okay, what more can I do? I've already done. And now it's like, oh, I gotta get this planned and get her done because there's a lot going on. So I followed up with all of the new signups. So that's 25 people I have followed up with, plus some of their contacts. Then I have reached out to them, and we've had a couple, a few more sign up. I think I'm at 11 this month, maybe.
Yeah.
So that's been word of mouth from those that, I was in contact with last month. Follow up is huge. It's just totally huge. So I've been busy with that. But there was something I wanted to share with people as you listen to me. Another thing that I like to do is go back and tickle the files, I call it. I learned this at the chiropractor's office. When we had extra time, we would go into the files and we would just look through them. And you would see names of, I haven't seen that person in a long time, or I wonder how that person's doing. Believe it or not, those people would call in and schedule an appointment. And we never called them. We were just looking at their name and thinking about them. So I do that with my downline, with my members and my specialists. I go through and I look and see, I wonder how they're doing. I'm going to drop them a note, or I'm going to shoot them a text, or I'm going to, I'm just going to reach out to them and let them know I'm still here. How are you? And I don't ask them to buy anything. I just say, how are you? How's the family? and I do that. So I would encourage you all, as you build and things like this, go tickle your files. Who are some people that haven't ordered for a while? Go back to your inactive people. Let's get them reactivated. Call them, talk to them. Doesn't have to be about soul, but I can almost guarantee eventually they will talk to you about it.
I love that, Anita. So it sounds like this month it's just a continuation. Energy's good. I heard the other night, in fact, Saturday night in the meeting that we were in, one of the leaders said, every single person that he helps enroll, he said, I first see them as a person, and second, I also see them as a doorway. Like you just said, their contacts also need it. And I guess that's the art of it, is how do I get good and comfortable and easy in talking with them through their doorway of their contacts, and they get more of that joy of some companionship in their journey and some company. And you, of course, have more to follow up on than you maybe could imagine sometimes. Okay, well, that's
I
great.
want to share. Can I share one more thing, Greg?
Oh, please.
And Annette Rogo set up 4 just cold calls to 4 different stores in her area, Amish stores. And so Susan and Annette and I went and we made the calls, and it was a really fun day together just to be together and then to touch lives. Well, from one of those, it was a person that she didn't even talk to that day. She had given one of the store owners a packet of material. She had it made up beautifully, and she left it with the store owner. The store owner's brother saw it at her house and called Annette and asked for Annette to come see him and talk to him about the products. He was very interested. It's amazing. Get it out there. Let people know. And the more you tickle the files, the more you think about your business, people are going to come in your way, in your path that you can share it with. Be ready with business cards. Be ready with a word of encouragement, a smile, and an offer of help.
That's so awesome, Anita. Great advice. You just never know who's going to see what you're
Exactly.
leaving with people, or who's going to repeat what you told them. Even if a meeting is one-on-one, to me, one-on-one meetings are just as valuable as these large ones. You just don't know who they're going to go, you know what I just heard today? I had a lady named Anita. She told me this. And the person's like, yeah, can I talk with her? Yeah, okay. Great stuff, Anita. We're out of time today, but I wanted to take all that time. You got so much going on. And thank you for spending some time with you here. I'm sure some other time in the future we'll have you back if you'll be good enough to join me. I love sharing, and I think you're doing so many wonderful things. So thanks again, Anita Carpenter. And everyone else, thank you for being on today. I've seen lots of great chats as we've talked through Anita's successes today. One more shout out of recognition to all of our health sages this month for starting that great life-changing habit of supplemental nutrition to protect against future issues in health, and also to just bring ourselves into a strong and a balanced state in the body. That always makes life happier every day. So thanks, everybody. Thanks for joining us on Monday Morning Talking Success, and we'll see you next week.